I don't need the spotlight. You can Google me. Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. I'm Raphael and I am here to review episode 15 of The Real Housewives who want to move forward in a friendship, but then they go 10 steps back the next episode of Beverly Hills. We start the episode off right after Lisa's Oscar-nominated performance that she just had over her breakdown at Dorit's Homeless But Toothless, that title though, event that she's having at her house. So next thing you know, Dorit, she tells the waiters to bring out a birthday cake to celebrate Kyle's birthday, right? So she puts it in front of Kyle, she gives a toast and she's like, okay everybody, we're gonna sing happy birthday to Kyle, my best friend. Kyle, you are such a phenomenal woman. You are so great and you're just my baby. Okay, so everybody, we're gonna sing happy birthday, okay? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Kyle. You're such a good producer. Oh, my baby. Now cut the cake. Oh, blow the candles out. Yummy. Oh, I can't wait to get a piece of cakey. So then they blow the candles out. Lisa, she's quick to make it right back about herself. And Lisa's like, okay, that's nice and all. That's nice. Happy birthday, Kyle. But anyways, so I just want to thank everybody here, for supporting my acting skills that I just put on 5 seconds ago when going against Sutton and screaming for no reason at this party. I would really want to thank everybody for being there for me and just being a good friend. I just feel like with me and Sutton, we have our issues, but I feel like there's more issues in this group that nobody's really discussing. So then Kyle, that's all Kyle had to hear because Kyle was just like, okay, so this birthday cake is nice and all. Excuse me. Okay, so you said issues in this group. Who else has issues in this group? Please tell me. Dorit, do you have any issues? Garcelle, do you have any issues? Kathy, Crystal, do you have any issues? Crystal, she was like, okay, well, I guess it's my turn. Okay, so I want to talk about some issues that I actually had. I discussed it with Sutton, I discussed it with Lisa. Now I want to discuss it with the group. I thought she was gonna come in full force at the group, like, okay, why are we discussing my eating disorder behind my back and gossiping about it and giving your opinion when I'm not even there to explain myself? And yes, I know that this happened at Lisa Rinna's event because Garcelle and Sutton, who are sitting right over there, they told me about it. And they also told me, Dorit, that you're the one that started the conversation. Why? Why did you feel like you need to do that? But no, she did the complete opposite. And instead, she was actually praising Lisa. She was just like, Lisa is such an amazing person. She's the best thing in this world. She has a heart of gold. And I'm like, but just a second ago, Crystal, last week, you were crying and saying, oh, when you become too vulnerable in this group of women, some of them, they actually start judging you for it. And now you're praising Lisa out of all people? But okay, so she went on to say that Lisa has been trying to get her help and giving her so many people to interview on her journey to get better in her eating disorder. So that's that. So then Kyle, she's like, okay, thank you for sharing, Crystal. Okay, so camera crew, do we have enough footage? Do we have enough drama for this episode? Or do we need to continue? The camera crew tells Kyle, no, we need a little bit more footage. You think you could instigate another fight? So Kyle is like, yeah, don't worry about it. So she tells the group, does anybody else need to discuss anything else? So then Sutton, she volunteers and she's like, well, I actually wanted to discuss what Erica called me the other day. She called me a liability. It's so funny that you say that because, well, I actually got a phone call the other day. Garcelle, are you ready for this? Put this on Snapchat. Put this on Instagram Live. But give me the little puppy filter. It's going to be so good. So it's so funny that you say that because I actually got a phone call from a lawyer. Dun, dun, dun. You know the second that Erica heard the word lawyer, she shit her pants and she was probably like, fuck. A lawyer? What do I have to give up now? I just gave up some nice shoes and my earrings and I just paid my glam squad last week. What do they want from me? So then Sutton, she goes on to say, the lawyer actually called me thinking that I knew something about one of you and Tom's cases. And notice that she said one of, because at this point, there's so many legal cases between Erica and Tom that it's hard to keep up. So she's like, yeah, I don't get why they called me. So I hired some litigation. I think that's the word that she used, or kitty litter, alligator, whatever. Litigation. It's all the same thing. She's like, yeah, I hired that because I wanted to protect myself. I don't want to get subpoenaed. I want to get some penis, but I don't want to get subpoenaed. So I needed to hire some litigation. Erica, she's upset about it. She's like, you knew that this was going to happen. I knew that this was going to happen. I knew that they were going to question you. You knew this, and I told you to be quiet because I knew that they were going to come after you. Sutton is like, yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't get why they're coming after me. And I'm like, Sutton, how do you not know this? Did you not watch last season? Did you not record the same season that we saw? Because, to Erica's point, she did tell you last season to be quiet. She didn't tell you nicely. She told you, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. She told you like that. But she kind of technically told you to be quiet. And you were alluding that you knew some stuff about Tom. And yes, in private conversation and behind closed doors, it'll be a whole different discussion. But you're on a public platform. You're on TV. And you know that they're watching Erica's every single move, including her co-stars on the show. So, of course, anything coming out of your mouth that looks suspicious, of course they're going to question you. So I don't get why you were so surprised about this. Erica, she went from 0 to 100. you see what happens when you open your mouth too much? Now they're gonna come after you and they're gonna question you just like I said they would. Be quiet. So Sutton is like, well, I'm not the liability. It's you. She was so bold for that. So then she jumps in there and she's like, wait, hold on, Erica Jane. Sutton, hold on, my baby, hold on, Sutton. So Sutton, do you think that the reason why the lawyers are coming after you and they're calling you to question you is because you're the only one that was questioning Erica about her legal cases last year? And I'm like, Doreen, now where did you get this from? It's like these housewives forget everything that they filmed a season ago. Like, no. Even in the flashback, we see you, Garcelle, and even Kyle questioning Erica about the cases last season at some point. So I don't get how you blamed it all on Sutton. And I wish that we would have gotten an answer out of the next thing that Garcelle said. Garcelle jumped in and she's like, that's not true. I'm not trying to be Sutton's bodyguard, but that's not true because we all said something here. I wish that we would have got a reply from what Dorit was going to say. But all of a sudden, Melania Trump, she wants to jump in and direct the whole conversation back to Garcelle. So she moves the focus away from Erica and she's like, I've been trying to be your friend this entire season and I just feel like for some reason I have to do extra work when it comes to you, and for some reason you're not letting me be your friend, and for some reason I feel like I have to do much more work when it comes to you. And I'm like, well, as you should. Because this entire season you've been nothing but an ass. So of course, why would Garcelle even want to even give you a chance to be her friend, knowing the way that you've been coming at her best friend on the show? Sutton, why would she even want to give you a chance? Because you might treat her the same way. Look how you treated her at her birthday party. Why would she give you an opportunity, Melania? Why would she? I just don't understand that. And Garcelle is like, what are you talking about? We already discussed this whole thing at your Christmas party. We sat down, we said that we were going to move forward, and that's that. She goes on to tell Garcelle, yeah, but I haven't seen you ever since. Garcelle is like, well, I haven't seen you either. And Garcelle at her confessional was like, well, if she wants to get to know me, all she has to do is just Google me. And I'm like, ooh, burns. Diana, I bet you can't say the same thing because the second that we Google who you are, a bunch of red flags and skeletons come attached to your name. So Diana, I'm pretty sure she's just used to people kissing her ass and bowing down to her. And since Garcelle is not doing that to her, she feels some type of way. So then all of a sudden, Lisa jumps in with her gold dress and she's like, well, Garcelle, I feel like, are you listening to what she's saying? Are you listening to what Melania Trump is saying? Garcelle, she's like, are you? Are you listening to what she's saying? Even Kathy had to get in on it and she was laughing with Garcelle. She was like, yeah, Garcelle, get her again. Get her for me. So then Lisa's like, yeah, I mean, I just feel like, you, Garcelle, for some reason, you're just so defensive all of the time. And I'm like, defensive? First of all, if I was Garcelle, I would have been told, what's her name, Diana. First of all, we weren't talking about you. You can mind your business. Lisa, you could also mind your business too. We were talking about Erica. So anyway, Erica, are you going to prison? But no, Garcelle went on to say, defensive? How am I defensive? And Lisa's like, well, you are defensive. You are defensive. And I feel like the only reason why you are defensive is because, why is she? I don't have a reason. Because of fear. I feel like with Lisa just throws anything out there to try to get a reaction. I don't get why she gets fear out of Garcelle. Garcelle is not fearful of these women, especially Diana. Who is Diana to Garcelle? Next thing you know, Lisa continues to put her foot in her mouth. At this point, she has her left and her right foot in her mouth and part of her fist. She's like, I just feel like, when we come at you, from a point of view or whatever, we do it with love. And I'm like, you know what? Just end the episode right here. Because I cannot take this gaslighting. I'm like, what do you mean that you come from a place of love? Just an hour ago or just a couple of seconds ago, you were screaming at it with Sutton and, going at her or whatever and saying all this and all that. Even Kyle Richards had to say something in her confessional. Her favorite spot, the confessional. She had to say, yeah, that's pretty rich that Lisa, out of all people, is saying that, you have to lead with love. Like, absolutely not. You haven't led with love since you've been on this show. And now all of a sudden you want to act like a Teletubby? No, absolutely not. And also, side note, did y'all notice that the extra guests that were sitting at the table, Garcelle had told them, oh, wait, y'all could leave if y'all want. And they actually got up and left. If I was them, I would have been like, no, I want to stay here. I want to try to get a diamond for next season. Garcelle, she tells Lisa, yeah, that's a bunch of bullshit right now that you're telling me about love. Absolutely not. And again, Lisa's just trying to protect Diana. They're all just constantly trying to protect themselves, right? I wouldn't doubt if Diana directed this whole conversation back to Garcelle because she knew that Erica was kind of in the hot seat right there, so she was trying to protect her. So Garcelle tells Lisa, I wish that somebody would tell me, you know what, Garcelle, you're right. I actually see where you're coming from, and you're absolutely right. The same way that you're doing to Diana right now, nobody has done that for me. And guess what, Garcelle? Nobody's going to do that for you in this group of women. women, because obviously we see season after season, they're constantly protecting each other. Even Diana, she's new on the show and she's still trying to be protected by this group of women. And she's constantly trying to protect Erica and Lisa, and she's new. They're always going to be like that, and they're never going to give anybody else on this show a chance. This is why Bravo needs to divide them somehow, or bring in somebody that is really just going to divide that entire group up into like 2 parts or 3 parts or something. Like, something needs to happen to divide them. So girls, though, you can keep wishing all you want, but you're never going to get it from this group of women. From the audience, yes, the audience sees it for you. The audience, I'm pretty sure that you feel the love online and you see that they're constantly praising you. They're like, you know what, Garcelle, you're right, you're right, you're right. But on this show, you're never going to get that. Then we head over to Crystal's house and she's making something to drink with her husband, Mr. Lion King. And he's asking her, so how did the charity event go the other night? What happened with that? And she's like, well, I actually talked about my eating disorder, and you know, the group, they want me to get help, but at the same time, I don't want to feel pressure like I need to get help because of that. I want to get help because of me and because of me only. And I'm like, okay, that's understandable. But at the same time, Crystal, I don't agree with how you're praising Lisa out of all people, because I just don't feel like Lisa truly, genuinely cares. I mean, she might, but you know, given Lisa's track record on the show, she'll throw you underneath the bus any second that she could. But she goes on to say, yeah, I want to get help, but I don't want to feel pressure. I don't want to do it on their time. And then she starts getting all emotional. She starts crying. So her husband, he starts holding her out of nowhere. Kathy, she walks in. She's just walking in her purse like, hey, 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 howdy, how's everybody? She starts giving Crystal some advice, and she's like, Crystal, this group of women, they love you. And I'm like, wait a minute. Love is a strong word. I don't think that this group necessarily love Crystal. I think that they just tolerate her because she's a cast member on the show. I think that at most they like her, and that's that. But I feel like the cast, they specifically Kyle and her squad, they see Crystal as another person that they could just dispose of any second. So she goes on to say, yeah, you know, this group of women, we're not doctors, we're not professionals, we're not therapists, we're not any of that. We're just a bunch of gaslighters, backstabbers, and instigators. And that's that. And it's okay for you to say, you know what, I have an eating disorder and I'm going to deal with it on my own time. I'm going to get help when I want to. Not when you want to, not when you want me to do it, when I want to. And that's that. That's okay. It's okay for you to do that by yourself and to tell the group, you know what, just mind your business. Let me deal with this on my own. And that was that. She gave some good advice to Crystal. Then she followed that up by saying, Crystal, do you have a cracker? I'm like, Kathy, go home. Then we head over to Kyle's house and she's opening up birthday gifts with Mauricio. The first one is a bedazzled champagne bottle from Garcelle. It looks really nice and pretty. The second one is a bouquet of flowers. And you know Kyle could not wait to name drop. She was probably like, okay, make sure that you get this on the mic. Are you sure that I'm mic'd up? Are you sure? Check my battery, because I'm about to name drop. Okay, so these flowers are from Kris Jenner. Yeah, Kris Jenner. The Kris Jenner, yeah, Kim Kardashian's mom. Make sure that, okay, you want me to say it again? Okay, let me act surprised. Oh, these flowers are so nice. Who are they from? Oh, they're from Kris Jenner. Kris Jenner. Kris Jenner is so sweet. Well, I know Kris Jenner. You know, she could not wait for it. Like, she just wanted to do it so badly. So she's there. And then we see her daughter, Sophia. She brings in this giant box. And she's like, oh, well, no, I believe it was Farrah. Farrah or Sophia, one or the other. She comes in and she gives her this big box. And she's like, oh, this is from your other daughter. Was it Farrah or Sophia? It was one or the other. And she's like, here you go, Mom. So then she opens it up and it's a pair of skates. And I'm like, well, it's already bad enough that Kyle skates by every single season with no storyline and instigating fights between other people. Now they actually gave her a pair of skates to actually skate on. But I'm surprised that she didn't do a split while wearing them, because she started rolling around in the entire living room. So then they take it into the dining room to eat lobster, I believe. And she asks her daughter, her oldest daughter who's getting married, so do you think that you're going to be a bridezilla? And then she quickly makes it about herself in the confessional. She's like, well, when I got married to Mauricio, everybody was giving me their input. Everybody was giving me their 2 cents. I didn't want to hear it. Nobody was minding their business. Everybody just kept jumping into my conversation and into my life about, oh, you should do this, do that, do this, do that. And I'm like, isn't that so interesting, Kyle? Because the same thing that you're describing, you know, back then is the same thing that you are now on the show. You're always giving your 2 cents in, even though nobody asked for it. You're always getting into other people's business when nobody wants it. But here you are criticizing the same thing that you are now. We see Lisa and Erica heading to this restaurant. They sit down. Lisa, she starts talking about Sutton. She's like, I don't get why Sutton decided to put you on blast in front of everybody on public, saying, oh, and now I got this phone call from this lawyer about you and Tom's legal cases. I don't get why she would do that. Erica's just like, yeah, I don't get why she would do that either. I mean, she had this information and she never told me ahead of time. Like, I just think that that's so terrible, you know. Sutton, she has her ways where I sometimes do like her, but in this moment, I don't like her at all. And I'm like, I just find it so interesting how Lisa, she has a problem with Sutton all of a sudden, you know, springing bringing this on Erica in front of the cameras and in front of everybody. But yet, Lisa, you do the same thing on this show to everybody. So now that Sutton, she takes a page out of your book. Now all of a sudden it's a problem that she does it, right? You don't like it when somebody pulls a you on you. Then we see Kyle and Sutton meeting up for drinks, and Kyle is questioning Sutton on why she just sprung the whole, oh, I just got a call from a lawyer asking about you and Tom's legal cases out of nowhere on Erica at the charity event. She thinks that she's just trying to be an instigator. And I'm like, Kyle, I know that is not coming out of your mouth. Just the same way with Lisa just a second ago. I cannot believe Kyle is just like, oh yeah, and she's just trying to be messy. I just don't understand why she's bringing this up. I'm just so appalled about this comment. Why would she do that? That is just crossing a boundary. And I'm like, oh, so you find this crossing a boundary and you find this being disrespectful and being too much. But just a second ago, you, Dorit, Mauricio, and PK were laughing at the whole situation with Erica and Garcel's son about how she told him, oh, get the fuck out, get the fuck out. And you were laughing at that and you didn't find no issue with that. But just now, because Sutton takes a page out of Lisa's book, and yeah, maybe she is trying to be calculated, and yeah, she is trying to be messy, but so what? All of you do the same thing back to her, and now that she's playing the same dirty game back to Lisa or even Erica, now it's a problem. So then Sutton tells Kyle, well, I'm the only one that's doing the actual questioning when it comes to Erica and her legal cases. You and everybody else, for some reason, none of you want to question Erica on anything. And notice how Kyle deflected the entire conversation back over to Sutton, and she's like, well, I just feel like every time me and you talk, Sutton, you get defensive for some reason. And I'm like, Kyle, no, that's not what she said. She said, why do you and everybody else in your crew do not question Erica on anything with her legal cases? That's what she said. But Kyle, she just deflected the whole entire conversation to the point where they started talking about Sutton and her dating life. And I'm like, Kyle, you're a sneaky one. You're very, very sneaky. You're good. You're good. We finally get to Lisa's 70s themed disco party for her Lisa beauty line. And Lisa, she comes out and I'm thinking, who is this woman? At first I'm thinking, wait a minute, I thought this was supposed to be Lisa's beauty line, not whoever this is, but apparently it's Lisa. She comes out, her bodysuit was cute. I like the outfit that she had on. Crystal, she comes in next, and her look was okay. I mean, I like the pink fur jacket that she had on, and then followed by Sutton. Sutton is Sutton. She came in with a big no. Garcelle, she comes in next. I liked her look. I like specifically her white platform boots that she had on. Dorit comes in right after her. Dorit, she also has a nice look. Kyle, Kyle is Kyle, followed by Erica Jane. I actually liked her hair being styled on one side of her head. She looked really pretty like that. As for the outfit, you're not fooling anybody, Erica. I know you cut a bunch of pieces together and you try to stitch it all together to make an outfit. I'm looking at it closely. I'm like, wait a minute. This belongs to something else. This belongs to something else. She just put a bunch of random scraps and she made it into an outfit. She was like, this is 70s couture and I'm gonna go with it. But okay, so they all get there. They're all behind the photo booth. They all start taking pictures. Diana and her tongue, they show up, and Diana, she actually had a really nice look to her. I love the bodysuit, the sparkly bodysuit that she had on, the hair, everything looked right. Her, Garcelle, and Dorit had the best looks of the night, followed by Erica. I mean, her hair was nice. Her outfit, it was questionable. So they sit down to talk. Kyle finally announces the Aspen trip that we've been waiting months and months and months for, and she's like, okay, so this is gonna be the starter to where we try to get my sister Kathy kicked off the show, and Lisa Rinna, she's gonna lead the pack, and I'm gonna play the victim as usual. Who's with me? So they're like, yeah, Aspen, Kathy, woo, woo, woo. So then Kyle is like, wait, but my house is a little bit too small, so I'm gonna have everybody stay at a house 10 minutes down the road. Dirty Diana and her tongue, she's not happy about it. She's like, wait, I'm actually gonna have to stay at a hotel because I'm very demanding, so I can't be in a house like this with a group of women, so I'm gonna just stay at a hotel by myself if that's okay. And I'm like, Diana, how about you just stay at home by yourself and don't come on the trip at all? Like, you could be at home with your American Idol reject husband or / manager or whatever and go listen to him play on the piano and sing and sound like a dying cat every single episode. Some dancers come out and they start dancing to some 70s music and they all start doing the 70s dance moves. They all get on the dance floor with the cast. Dorit was dancing as if her diamond was on the line. She was like, oh, my baby, how you like my dance moves? Huh, Andy, are you going to give me my diamond for next season? Look at all my dance moves. Look how much I'm bringing to the show. I'm so cool, right? Look at this. I'm bringing all the dance moves. I'm like, oh, Dorit, no, you're still not coming back next season. But okay. Garcelle, she also gives us a little story of her back in the 70s or 80s when she was at the club. They offered her to do some Coca-Cola, some Coca-Cola. But when she went to go do it, she accidentally spilled it all on the floor. And I'm like, wow, okay, I appreciate the honesty. Now, Dorit, if only we could get that type of honesty from you a couple of seasons ago with your bathroom. Kyle and Sutton sit down to have another conversation. And Kyle, right before she starts producing, Kathy, she jumps in and she's like, wait, so Kyle, are we going out tonight? Because I see that you're eating something. So are we going out tonight? Kyle, she did not like that. And her season 1 version of herself came out. She's like, Kathy, can you please stop? I'm trying to have a conversation with Sutton right now. And I'm like, wow, it was equivalent to how she used to talk to Kim in the earlier seasons. And I'm like, I don't know if Kathy's gonna put up with that. Kathy looked at her like, bitch, don't try me right now. Like, the only reason I'm not saying nothing right now is because these cameras are on me and I have to, maintain this image. So Kathy's like, what? I'm just asking something. So Kyle, she snapped back at her. She's like, no, I'm trying to ask Sutton a question right now and I'm trying to produce a scene. Can you please stop? I'm trying to talk to her. And I'm like, okay, Kyle, relax. It's not that serious. So Kathy, she was like, she took the bigger road and she's like, you know what? It is what it is. So Kathy got up, she left, she went to go sit next to Garcelle. And Kyle is like, what's her problem? What's going on with that? And I'm like, so this is where it starts, right? This is where it starts, where her and Kathy's division starts this season. So she goes on to Sutton and she's like, so Sutton, how did you feel after me and you, after our meeting the other night? How do you feel? And how do you feel that Erica Jen, the one that's sitting over there, how do you feel that she called you a liability? Please speak into the microphone really loudly. So Sutton is like, I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, I don't like that she called me a liability, but I don't know how to feel about that. So Kyle is like, okay, you're not producing fast enough. Erica, over here. So Erica, what did you mean when you called her a liability? I'm like, Kyle has some nerve. She has some guts to just be putting everybody on display like that. I'm like, she just told you that she doesn't really want to talk about this and she's keeping everything quiet and low key and you just screaming this out loud across the room. But Erica's like, well, I actually think that she's like a hindering to me and Garcelle. I mean, Garcelle is always going to look at me through her eyes and I just feel like it's always going to be a thing. She's never going to look at me as just herself, as Garcelle. She's always going to look at me through Sutton. And Sutton is like, that's not true. I mean, Garcelle, do you think that I'm a hindrance? Garcelle is like, no, I don't think that you're a hindrance. I think you're my friend and that's that. And then she tells Erica, Garcelle tells Erica, I'm only looking at you the way I'm looking at you because you're treating my friend, who is Sutton, wrong. So how am I supposed to take this? What, I'm supposed to be okay with you treating my friend badly like this? No, so of course I'm going to look at you sideways. Dorit jumps into it and she tells Sutton, I just feel like what you told Erica in front of everybody about somebody calling your phone about this lawyer situation, I just feel like that was a hit below the belt. I just feel like that was a low blow in a way. And I just feel like you were doing way too much and it was way out of line. And I'm like, it's just so interesting. Like I've been saying this entire review, it's just so interesting to me how her, Erica, Kyle, and Lisa Rinna find this situation offensive, this situation crossing the line, but yet the whole situation between Garcelle's son and Erica, that was a whole big joke to everybody a couple of episodes ago. And now this is like somebody called, Dorit's family like names or something. It's like, this is the worst thing that Sutton could ever do to somebody. I'm like, she's just taking a page out of Lisa Rinna's book and using it against them, and they cannot stand that. They cannot stand that it's all of them versus Sutton, and they still can't manage to crack her. So Sutton, she tells Erica, I just feel like by you calling me a liability, I just feel like that's pretty mean, don't you think? But before she could even say another thing, Lisa Rinna, she comes out of left field and she screams at Sutton. She's like, Sutton, you really need to stop with this bullshit. No, like you really need to stop. I'm not having your back and I'm not having her back. You need to fucking stop. Sutton is like, wait a minute, you're not having my back right now either. Lisa's like, yeah, of course not. Like I said, I'm not having your fucking back. You need to stop. You need to grow up and you need to stop. And Sutton is like, Lisa, I feel like what you're doing right now is pretty aggressive. What does Lisa say? Well, guess what? I am aggressive and I don't care. And I'm like, well, there we have it, everybody. And there she is. And there we have it. Because just last episode, she was like, oh, I want me and Sutton to be peaceful. I want us to be best friends. I want us to be in a better place. I'm going through so much right now because of my mom's death, etc., etc. And look what happened this episode. Everything that she just said the last episode went right out the window. I'm like, I knew it. I knew it was a bunch of BS. This is why I said, Lisa, I felt sympathy for your situation with your mother. But look, I knew it was all BS and the whole thing was acting and you were using that as an excuse because look, just like that, you're right back to your old ways and going at it with Sutton again for the 100th time. So it's just like, you keep saying that you want to move forward, but then again, you move 10 steps back with Sutton in less than 5 seconds. Which one is it? Lisa further continues to explain her behavior to everybody. And she's like, well, honestly, me and Sutton will get back on the right track when we have to. But right now, if I say that I love her and I do the opposite the next day, it's fine. I'm going to give myself a little bit of grace of everything that I'm going through right now. And I'm like, no, Lisa, it does not go like that. It does not happen like that. It does not work like that either. Like, just because you're going through grief right now does not allow you to be a biatch to Sutton and just allow you to be so mean and cold-hearted to her every other episode whenever you just want to lash out just because you're going through it or whatever. No, it doesn't happen like that. I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of people in the world that handle grief the complete opposite. They want to be alone. They would rather be nicer to people because they understand the value of life. But no, you to be a raging monster, no, that's no excuse. And if I was Sutton, Oh, and you're just a better woman than I am, because the second that Lisa would have even came at me or even targeted me, Harry Hamlin. Like, that's all I would have mentioned to Lisa. I would have really gotten underneath her skin, but for some reason, Sutton's just like, no, it's fine, it's whatever. Then they get into the discussion of the whole, the homeless but not toothless, and they start talking about the title of that charity, and we already discussed the last review how that charity title is just stupid, and they need to change that quickly. Like, if you're responsible for that, yeah, you need to get on that, because that sounds a mess. So Sutton, she tries to explain her portion of this whole thing with her and Erica and Lisa, and she's going on and on and on, and she's not really getting to the point. She's just going on and on and on. She's just having a dorit, right? Like a long-winded conversation by herself, and everybody's like, can you just get to the point? Erica, she says it underneath her breath, and she's like, well, I guess I'm not the only one with a drinking problem, huh? And everybody was just shocked about it. Sutton, she's shocked about it. Garcelle, she quickly stood up. She's like, huh? You're trying to address me? Because obviously Garcelle, she was alluding that Erica had a drinking problem. Erica, she took a shot at her by trying to, to bait her into the conversation. Sutton is just sitting there after 20 minutes trying to figure out what to say. Erica, she already moved past that conversation, and she's looking over at Garcelle, and she's like, oh, don't worry, Garcelle. We're going to talk about that drinking situation that you accused me of in a second. Don't worry about it. I know you accused me of being an alcoholic. Don't worry about it. And every time she kept doing that, it all reminded me of Nene Leakes when she was like, so nasty and so rude. So nasty and so rude. So then Garcella's like, wait, no, hold on. Because me, as executive producer, I want my camera time. So Erica, what do you mean by that? What's going on here? What's the problem? So Erica, she goes on to say, well, I don't know. I just feel like you've been accusing me of having all these alcoholic problems and these drinking problems out of nowhere. I mean, just because I drank 3 times, it's a big issue. Garcella's like, well, I mean, that is the narrative. You have, showed your ass for 3 episodes already. You've been a hot ass mess for 3 episodes. So what do you want me to do? I'm only doing this out of concern. Erica's just like, no, honestly, I really don't think so. I really do think that you're just you have a bigger motive than this, because these group of women right here, they're the one that I will really rely on. They're the one that I really trust. Garcella's like, oh, trust me, I know that already. You say it every single episode. Every single one of you say it every single episode. Erica's just like, well, I don't know. I just feel like there's a different motive with you. I feel like you're just trying to make me look bad, or you're just trying to paint me out to be the bad guy or something. Why did she even say that? Because Garcelle was just like, okay, hold on. You want to take it there? Hold on. Give me 1 second, Erica. What? Hold on. You think that I'm trying to paint you out to be bad? I don't need to do that to make you look bad. You do a good job doing that yourself. I'm like, damn. I'm like, yikes, Erica. You know what, Erica? Just go home. Like, there's nothing that you could say coming back from that. Even Lisa Rinna herself, who was sitting right next to Garcelle, she was like... she contemplated, you know what? Maybe I am on the wrong side. Bye, Erica. I'm going to join Garcelle's team. After Garcelle's comment to her, because, I mean, what do you say to that? Because it's true. Erica, you make a complete ass out of yourself by yourself. You don't need Garcelle's help. All you need is Tom. And that's it. Kyle, on the other hand, she want to be a Jif so badly. So Kyle, she was like, okay, here we go. Okay, gotta practice my face expressions. Here we go. Okay, get the camera on me. I'm like, okay, Kyle, we get it. We've seen the same expression every single season. We get it. Nothing shocking to you anymore, blah, blah, blah. Erica's reply to Garcelle's comment is, well, I just feel like you're a liar. You're trying to be a liar. You're trying to paint out this bad narrative of me. And it's not true. I don't get why you're trying to fake being concerned about me when you're really not concerned at all. And I'm like, well, you could say the same thing about Lisa. Lisa just said 2 episodes ago, oh, maybe you should stop your drinking. Maybe you should stop your drinking. You had no issue then. But now all of a sudden that Garcelle, she's actually concerned about you. And I think it's genuine. All of a sudden you have an issue with that. So again, do you not want anybody to care about you on the show? Your true friends over here that you claim that you trust so much, like Kyle, Dorit, and even Lisa, they don't care about your drinking issue. I mean, Lisa to a certain extent, she said it once, but the other 2, they're okay with it, especially Kyle. Like I said a couple of reviews ago, Kyle, she'll be the very first one to turn on you, Erica. If you do truly become an alcoholic later on, which I hope you don't, but let's say you do, Kyle will be the first one to use it against you. Like, Erica, you really need to stop acting like a sloppy drunk. Like, what are you? Like, no, you're a liability. You need to get off the show. So Garcelle said, you know what, fine, whatever. You could blow up your life. You could do whatever you want with your life. And it is what it is. Garcelle, I told you last review, you need to stop caring about Erica altogether. Like if she wants to, have 20 drinks in one row, it is what it is. That's her life. She's a grown woman. She could do whatever she wants. It is what it is. You tried to warn her and you tried to stop her like 3 times already. And you tried to give everybody like all the signals and they know they don't want to listen. So that's their problem and that's their friend. It is what it is. As long as you and Sutton are cool, then that's that. And if anything, if I was you, I would have told Erica, well, it's okay. If you want to spiral out of control, it's okay. I mean, you're already halfway in jail already with Tom. So, I mean, you go ahead and continue doing damage. But that's just me. So then Dorit, she jumps back in it and she's like, wait, so hold on, Garcelle. So Garcelle, remember when me and you went out to dinner the other night and I was trying to tell you, well, nothing's really wrong with Erica because Erica, she's just having a couple of drinks. She's just having fun. That's it, right? All of a sudden, you said, don't be Kyle. Don't be Kyle. Don't be Kyle. Just exaggerating and blowing it out of proportion, like making it seem like Garcelle was really trying to like yell at her, like, don't be Kyle. Don't be Kyle. Knowing Kyle in the flashback, Garcelle just said, don't be Kyle. Don't be Kyle. Just calmly and, just like that, like very quiet. But Dorit, she wants to blow it out of proportion and make it seem like she was really trying to be extremely shady. Garcelle is like, I never said that. I didn't say it like that. Stop it. So Kyle is like, wait, what's wrong with being Kyle? Kyle, we don't have the time right now to list out all those issues, but... So that was that. Eventually, there was just a lot of tension between everybody, and I don't see how this group is going to move forward. Like, it's becoming toxic. Like, it's just a hot-ass mess. And Kathy Griffin, she's just like, so, I mean, are we good now? I mean, are we fine? Are we good? And Kyle is like, well, I mean, I guess we resolved our issues, and that's that. Sutton, she tells Erica, I'm going to try to call you tomorrow. I'm like, Sutton, you are not getting it either. Like, Sutton, you are still trying to be everybody's doormat on the show. Like, you see how they treat you, and you're still willing to try to, extend your arm. I mean, it shows that you have a good heart, I guess, I suppose. But it also shows that you're also a doormat because they could treat you whatever way you want, whatever way they want, and you're still gonna go crawling back to them like a toxic ex-boyfriend. Like, you don't do that, Erica's just like, no, I don't think that you should do that. Just don't call me. Just delete my number, unfollow me on Instagram, and that's that. Just leave it at that, and it is what it is. And it's funny that she says that because in the trailer to what we have for the rest of the season, we see that her and Sutton, they somehow make up, and Erica, she tells Sutton, I love you. So I wonder where they go from here. So, that's that, everybody. This whole episode was a hot-ass mess. But let me know what you thought about this whole episode down in the comments. And just like I mentioned in my Housewives of Dubai and Atlanta reviews, I'm actually going to have to skip a week of reviews because I'm going to be on vacation at the end of this week. So for Dubai, unfortunately, I'm going to have to skip both the 11th and the 12th episode because of time management. For Atlanta, I'm only going to skip the 15th episode and be back on the 16th episode. For Beverly Hills, I'm going to skip the 16th episode and then be back on the 17th episode. But if anything happens within those episodes that I'm gone that's important to the season, I'll briefly discuss it when I come back. And I always keep everybody up to date on the community tab on YouTube, if anything. So again, if you don't see me, it's because I'm on vacation somewhere. But let me know what you thought about this entire episode down in the comments. See you all soon. Bye. Mwah.